Hello everyone, this is Vic with Down by the River, and I decided, after a lot of folks have been asking me, to give you a shakedown tour of this entire setup. I'm going to be starting with the truck and the modifications that I've done, and then moving my way onto the camper, and eventually inside of the camper. Hopefully the wind isn't going to be too terrible on this video, but anyway, let's get into it. Starting out, this is a 2023 Ram 5500 with the Cummins, of course.
And I have broke it down, the three most insufferable types of folks that I've ever come across would be ham radio guys, arborists, and guys who have Cummins diesels and Dodge pickups.
The reason why I went for the Cummins instead of the 6.4 Hemi is because, well, I've had 3 trucks now over the last 15 years with the Cummins platform, and they have never let me down. Moving on to this gigantic tire right here, I decided to upgrade this truck from its stock form to a super single setup because I like to do a fair amount of off-roading, and the dually, it can handle it just fine. Most of the stuff that I do, it would not have any problem, but that ride is rough. In addition to the super single tires, which are 41.4 inches, I also upgraded the suspension. It's the Buckstop kit with liquid springs. Now, I do like the liquid springs because of several features. One being that you can adjust the compression and dampening to smooth out the ride or make it more firm depending on the conditions that you find yourself in. And there is a pretty fancy feature on it called auto level, which if you get into a spot that is, I found, less than 3 degrees off in either the front to back plane or the side to side plane, it can usually get it level. Now this camp spot right here is drastically out of level, so I had to do some modifications, as you can see here, and still couldn't quite get it where I wanted it to be. Now this is a limited model of the 5500, which unfortunately you cannot get anymore for some strange reason. I'm not going to get too carried away with the interior tour of this truck because I believe that the primary reason why you're tuning in right now doesn't really have anything to do with the inside of this truck. The biggest reason why I decided to pick such a high-end trim vehicle is because I like comfort. The full leather seats are incredibly comfortable. The heated and cooled seats in the front, and then the heated seats in the back for once a year when I actually have company back there. It's a nice feature to give my riders. Going past that, the audio system that is specifically in the limited trim is, in my opinion, pretty much top tier out of the big 3 trucks. And I love music, so there's the other reason. I came in like a wrecking ball. It's so hard in love. All of the bells and whistles, besides that, I could give or take. And one thing that I really, really wish that this truck has is the G56 manual transmission from my previous truck. Continuing around the passenger side here, this is a, holy cow. So it is incredibly windy out here. This is a skirted flatbed made by PJ Trailers. I got it because there wasn't a lot of options besides just this. In hindsight, I would much rather have a flatbed like a Highway Products made out of aluminum instead of steel to reduce, the issue of corrosion, and not only that, but saving several hundred pounds on the backside of this build, because this is a very heavy flatbed. One thing that I do like, however, are the storage components. I carry just enough tools and have just enough knowledge to know that whenever something bad happens, I don't know what to do. I'll just throw one of these and then call somebody who knows what they're looking at. That being said, I do have some knowledge, some mechanical knowledge. I could do basic repairs, which is why I just carry basic tools. I also do carry some extrication equipment. I've got various soft shackles and a very heavy-duty kinetic energy recovery rope that has come in handy several times in the past. And it's a lot better than some static energy rope like what I have here. In my opinion, I think that this is a vital part of anybody's setup, is having a good kinetic energy rope, a bunch of soft shackles, clevis hooks, and zip ties. You name it. Because, I mean, if I get this truck stuck, proper stuck, I'm in pretty big trouble anyway. But usually I'm fairly good at recognizing when it's a good time to turn around. This is more for other folks that get stuck on the trails, because I think that that's one of those things that has imprinted on me in the last 21 years of living here in Montana. Is if you see somebody that's stuck on the side of the road, pull over and help them out, because it could be hours until somebody else is able to help you, which can very well be life or death in a lot of situations. So anyway, moving back here, my back right box here is where I carry a bunch of tie-down straps. All the tie-down straps. I mean, not organized the best, but it works. The reason why I carried all these tie-down straps is because I am actually a working man. I do work for a living, because that trust fund tree that I planted is not growing yet. Now, coming around to the driver's side doors, and this side is where I carry, I guess, another strap, because you can never have enough straps, and all of my chemicals, treatment chemicals that I use for my diesel additive. Because one thing that folks don't know, and I don't necessarily want to nerd out too much with y'all, but there was an issue. Oh my God, she scared me. There's an issue with our ultra low sulfur diesel here in the United States. And that issue is that sulfur is used as an additive, a lubricity additive, for the fuel injection system for diesels. And after we took that out, a lot of these companies, like Bosch, who makes the CP4 injection pump, that's designed in Germany, and it's also designed for diesel with a higher sulfur content, which is one of the reasons why there has been such a failure in GM and Ford injection pumps. Coming up to this side, coming up to the front box here, which is demonstrating some of that very high quality PJ flatbed build here. This is, yeah, I don't like this flatbed. I carry a bunch of 1/2-inch impact and SAE and metric, and I also carry a 12-ton hydraulic bottle jack, because this truck not only didn't come with a jack, but even if it did, I found in my 1-ton, my last truck, with the truck camper on the back, it wasn't strong enough to raise it. So that's about all I need to show with the truck itself. So let's go into my camper. Now the camper, if you've been watching my videos for the last 4 years or so, it's nothing new. But I've not really gone in depth to the modifications that I've done with this camper and how I feel about it. The camper is a 2020 Northern Light 9.6 QLE, Queen Limited Edition. I bought this camper brand new a few months before the coronavirus hit, when I decided to go full-time on the road. And since then, it has been through some of the roughest terrain that I think pretty much any truck camper has been through, and has yet to let me down. When I say that, I don't mean to intend to make it sound like I'm sponsored by Northern Light, even though I tried. Hi, guys. I just mean as a customer, wow, they are great. So what have I done with this camper so far since I've owned it and was full-timing on this with this truck camper for 3.5 years before I decided to take a break and live like a normal human being. The truck camper, about 1.5 to 2 years ago, I took it up to Kalispell and had what at the time would be considered the largest solar array, quite possibly, that was ever put on a truck camper. Now, unfortunately, there seems to be a bit of an arms race with my fellow truck camper community, because Mike and Twy from Runaway Parents just had to knock it up an edge, and I think they've managed to squeeze out 1,600 watts of solar on the top of theirs. And then Larry said, why stop at 1.6? And I think 1.6 kilowatts. And I think he threw 2.6 kilowatts, so 2,600 watts of solar on top of his roof. And it's got me a little bit envious. I want to put more solar up there, but I don't think there's much more space. So maybe someday down the line, I'll be able to build something really cool like what Mike and Twy have up on top of their roof. But in the meantime, the 1,000 watts that I have on top works great. That in combination with the 600 amp hours of Discovery lithium iron phosphate batteries, the 3,000 watt Victron inverter, and the solar charge controller, which I believe is 60 amps, but I'm not really sure. I don't even know what that necessarily means. I'm not able to be an expert in regards to the whole solar setup, which is why I paid somebody else to do it. I do have a 30 amp DC to DC charger that I have not installed on this truck yet. The wire's right here, and I'm hoping to get that done very soon, because it's really nice to just turn on the truck when you're driving and get 30 amp hours worth of energy in 1 hour of driving. Aside from those modifications, I haven't really done anything else. This truck camper is pretty much turnkey, in my opinion. There are a couple things that I would like to be tweaked a little bit, like the dinette being more comfortable, but I find myself hesitant to start tearing in and completely renovating that part of the interior like Larry did with his old 92 Texan. There's also some really cool features that I forgot to mention that are on the exterior of this camper. One of them that I don't utilize very often, but it is a nice feature to have, is an exterior shower. Besides that, this wonderful power awning that I've got back here with an LED strip that's sporadic, I would say, on working or not. And on the passenger side, I've got a manual awning. Yeah. Whoa. Oh. Now, besides that, I've got my exterior access to a fridge right here, and my propane cubby, which houses two 20-pound cylinders, and also it's a long ways up. Well, anyway, I think that's about it for the exterior tour. So let's make our way inside. So the interior of my camper here, and to my left is my bathroom. It's a wet bath, which I have mixed feelings about. It would be nice to have a dry bath, so I don't have to deal with cleaning as much, because it's kind of, there's a lot of nooks and crannies in a wet bath that is a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with. To my right is a very large closet, which is quite convenient. It stores almost all of the garments that I need for any given season. Moving forward, I've got a nice large fridge. I believe it's a 6.3 cubic foot fridge. The freezer is large. I can stash about a month's worth of meat inside of this freezer alone. And down here, I've got a very large refrigerator as well. It's quite convenient to have such a nice fridge and freezer in such a small camper package. Moving over here, I've got my range complete with 3 burners, and it's made of a nice stainless steel, which makes it much easier to clean. And I've got this glass cover that can be folded down if I need more space on this counter, because the counter is pretty small. I make do just fine. Right here's my sink. It's a single basin sink, which I really, really like. Having such a large sink allows plenty of room for activities. Over here I've got my standard 120, 110 outlet. And right here I've got a 1 amp and a 2.1 amp DC charger for this. And in addition to that, I've got a 12 volt cigarette lighter for those times that you feel like sparking up a stogie. Unfortunately, cigarette lighter is sold separately. As you can see, I'm kind of out of paper towels right now, so all right, good to go. Above, I've got 2 cabinets, and right here used to be a microwave, but the first day that I got this camper, I took it out immediately because I'm not a big microwave person, and there is so much storage up here in this upper cabinet by just taking it out. To the right, it's more of the same. So yeah, that's about it for this cupboard. So the small cubby above my range is where I usually carry my little kettle for making coffee and all the accessories that I use for making coffee. It's a small cubby, but I find it quite convenient to store those things right up there because my work area is right below it. So beneath my sink, I've got one little drawer right here that I just stash random small stuff, and no camper is complete without a random junk drawer. One thing that I don't really like about this camper is the silverware drawer is actually right here. Not a huge deal, but kind of a little bit weird. Now the 10.2, the larger camper, they do have a silverware drawer up here, I believe. Going down lower than that is where I keep all of my dishes. I like proper dishes. I got these years ago, and somehow these things, despite getting, my mom bought me these. Thank you, Mom. They have held up really well. And I have a complete set. Well, I mean, enough of a complete set for 2 people. Underneath my range, which, by the way, I use that a lot, is this drawer. Nice, large drawer. That's an absolute mess. Sorry about that. Moving over to the other side here, I've got a very sleepy dog. Yes, hello. Say hello. Nope, nope, she doesn't want to say hello. I've got a very large drawer that I carry all of my food that is less perishable. Canned food, things like that that hold for a long time, along with, vinegars and various seasonings and spices. Below that, well, I'm not going to get too far into that. Let's just say it's where I hold a lot of my freedom seeds. Moving up to the dinette side, this is where we all spend a lot of time, especially when the weather isn't all that nice. And for the most part, Northern Light did a pretty decent job on utilizing this space right here. I would actually like the U-shaped dinette more than the face-to-face dinette or whatever this is called. Just because this is a very large table and I don't necessarily utilize it that much. One thing that's handy about it is it moves. There's a great window right here. I love this design of window. Northern Light doesn't use these anymore, and to some extent I understand why they don't, because if you drive around in the woods, they will get scratched a lot. So moving up into the bed, I have actually gotten rid of the factory style bed because it's a little bit too soft for my liking. So I have replaced that with an X-Ped mattress. I'd love for it to be wider, but the dimensions of where this bed goes is not technically a queen-sized area. You can only fit a short queen up here, and that is one of the other few shortcomings that I don't like about this camper, is you can't just take a standard queen mattress and throw it up here. The other thing that I don't like is there's not a lot of headspace. If you get back here towards the nose, I'm pushing 5'12", and it's a little bit lacking on the headspace. The 10'2" has significantly more headspace over the cab over portion, and that is one of the reasons, one of the very few things that I wish I would have done is get the 10'2" instead of the 9'6", just because of having a little bit more headspace and a little bit more space in the kitchen. Aside from that, it's not bad. It's a pretty comfortable sleeping area. To the right here, and again, apologize for all the cordages and everything, but the struggle is real. You've got a nice little TV right here, which does swivel and comes out, and you can adjust it and swing it 180 degrees so that it faces the dinette portion, and you can enjoy Matlock or Dragnet, whatever TV show that you enjoy the most, over here with good visibility. Good job, Northern Light. Great utilization of TV and the swinging TV as well. Oh, wow, I got another pillow in there. Oh, yes, I forgot. So this space right here, there is a lot of space, and I don't know if you can see in there, but there is a 120 outlet, which is super handy. So moving up to this side, you've got another great usage of space here without sacrificing a window. And, it's the same style window as we saw on the dinette. I didn't mention that these have full blackout. If you find yourself in a Walmart because you're traveling and have a hard time getting to sleep because of light pollution, these things will pretty much turn your camper into a full blackout. below the window here is you've got a nice long cubby here that stretches from all the way over here and in a speaker to all the way to the front. And this is where I keep a lot of my clothes, like my socks and miscellaneous clothing. Moving over to the other side is a continuation of basically what's going on over there, because it's just me in this camper, so I don't have to worry about a his and hers side. But that being said, it's the same thing as what you see over there. You've got two cubbies where I keep my clothes and my pants and my shorts and other miscellaneous linens like long johns. In front of that, this storage cubby, and I've kind of got it chocked full of stuff right now. It does have a hanger up on the top, so you can put more clothing in here that go on coat hangers, but I just don't bother with that. Moving over to the left here is a privacy screen, which goes all the way across, and it closes off the entire cab over portion of this camper, which is really convenient if you have company. Like a couple of years ago, I had my mom and stepfather traveling with me, and it was nice that they had their own space to be able to change in the morning, because I don't want to be traumatized in seeing my parents naked, and they don't want to be traumatized as well, from vice versa. Up here is a wonderful skylight. It's also an emergency exit if needed, and it also has the full blackout screen and a bug screen, which works fairly well. All right, so in conclusion to this video, I guess the ultimate question would be, what do I think about my current build, and what would I change if I had the opportunity to? As far as the Northern Light truck camper goes, I think it's a pretty clear winner and a good compromise between functionality, durability, depreciation value in the truck camper itself, while sacrificing some of the other features that larger truck campers have, like slide outs. For me personally, my style of camping and exploring, adding in slides introduces a failure point. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm no expert, although I have been doing this for at least 10 years, I think 12 years, and I've had 3 truck campers, as you could see before. Anyway, going on to the truck, the Super Single Kit, is it worth it? I would say it is worth it if you are planning on doing things like what I do. And as you can see in my previous videos, I do test my abilities and kind of walk that line between safety and danger in order to get into these more beautiful environments. Now, if you are planning on primarily just sticking on smooth Forest Service roads, I think it isn't really necessary. Now, you can take a Liquid Springs setup and modify your stock Ram 5500 or Ford F550 to be able to obtain that smoother ride quality that you experience with the Liquid Springs setup. In regards to the Liquid Springs setup, is it worth it? If you're carrying a big, heavy triple slide host, or some of those larger Eagle Caps or Arctic Foxes, when loaded up fully, you're pushing into the 6,500 to 7,500 pound range. The smoother ride quality, you will start to obtain that in those higher payloads on these Class 5 trucks. Yeah, in conclusion, I don't think that there's really anything that I would like to change with my current build. Aside from, I'd love to get a 10.2 Northern Light, but frankly, that's just not in the budget. And I've already put a significant amount of money and dedication into this camper with the solar system. And that trust fund tree, I don't think it's going to be blooming anytime soon. So I plan on having this exact setup minus a few tweaks here or there, like side boxes. Someday those will come, hopefully sooner than later, because it really looks like that would be the finishing touch, the chef's kiss, so to speak, on this build. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed my video, and stay tuned for more, and have a great day. Also, I find myself extremely hesitant to bring this up because I've been trying to make an effort to not get into politics, and for some strange reason, the assassination of a man who, by all intents and purposes, seemed like a very true and honest man is just an absolute tragedy, and I don't know why, but I did watch him regularly, and he was a very entertaining person and seemed like a very honest and true person. True to his beliefs, true to his vision, and a good husband and father to his 2 kids. So regardless of your political affiliation, I don't really care if this triggers you. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And that's it.